Gene Hackman's name once lit up every marquee in town, and his work shaped Hollywood for decades. Yet no one expected the shocking discovery at his secluded Santa Fe home, a scene so puzzling that investigators, fans, and even close family members have been left with more questions than answers. What really happened behind those locked doors? And why were both Gene and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, found in such confounding circumstances? It all began with what was supposed to be a routine visit. Two maintenance workers arrived at the quiet property on the outskirts of Santa Fe, expecting to fix a simple issue in the aging mansion. Instead, they walked into a silence so overwhelming it felt unnatural. The front door, oddly unlocked, creaked open as they stepped into a grand foyer that immediately struck them as lifeless. No hum of the furnace, no soft thrum of conversation, and not a single sign of day-to-day living. They found Gene Hackman's body near a small back room, positioned as though he had been trying to stand up or reach for something. His cane and sunglasses rested on a nearby chair, left behind in a rush or possibly dropped at a critical moment. At 95 years old, he was undeniably in the twilight of life, yet it was clear that something more than just advanced age had unfolded here. Betsy Arakawa, 65 and known for her steadfast presence by Gene's side, was discovered in the bathroom. Pills were scattered around the countertop, and an open prescription bottle suggested a frantic moment just before tragedy struck. One haunting detail came from the far side of the house, a small crate holding a pet that had not survived. Two other animals roamed outside, seeming confused and neglected, as if their routine had been suddenly upended. For the authorities who arrived shortly after, these conflicting details turned the property into a macabre puzzle board. Was this a crime scene or a bizarre accident? Early speculation leaned toward carbon monoxide poisoning, given how common it can be in older homes, yet a quick inspection revealed intact gas lines and no evidence of leaks. That single contradiction, no poison detected but two lives cut short, sparked a wave of rumors in the community. Some insisted it had to be natural causes, pointing to Jean's advanced age, while others whispered of more sinister forces at play. But this was only the start of a mystery that would soon spiral far beyond the dusty roads leading to the front gate of Gene Hackman's once beautiful retreat. If the initial discovery left investigators scratching their heads, the details they documented next only deepened the sense of unease. In the bathroom, where Betsy's remains were found, pills were scattered haphazardly. An open prescription bottle lay on the countertop, as if someone had been rummaging through it in a hurry. Whether it was for pain, anxiety, or something else entirely remained unclear. The only certain thing was the suddenness of whatever had taken place. Near the body, an overturned space heater seemed out of place for a home that otherwise appeared well-maintained. Was it knocked over in a moment of panic? Had someone stumbled? Investigators could not say for sure, but the presence of that heater, potentially a source of carbon monoxide, briefly reignited the possibility of a silent gas infiltration. Subsequent checks, however, dismissed that theory just as quickly, leaving behind a trail of guesswork. Pacing through the house, the authorities noted signs of partial disarray. Half-finished drinks in the living room, an empty plate in the sink, and the front door wide open. It was a stark contradiction to how most people described Gene Hackman. Friends and family often recalled him as meticulous, a man who believed in closing every door and double-checking every lock. Many also described Betsy as conscientious, especially when it came to her daily routines. The pets added yet another layer of confusion. Two were outside, seemingly desperate for attention, but one dog was found deceased. The implication was heartbreaking. If the couple had been gone for days, the animals might have run out of water or food, leaving them in a desperate state. This pointed to a gradual unraveling rather than a single cataclysmic event. How long had the couple been inside? Why was there no call for help? Speculation about the pills and the heater aside, the deeper question remained. How had two people, presumably in decent health despite their age difference, both ended up lifeless in separate areas of their home? The entire scene felt like a puzzle missing its most crucial pieces, yet the next revelations, which surfaced from diaries, phone records, and family interviews, would prove that the most perplexing details were still to come. When news of Gene Hackman's death broke, theories began circulating faster than any official report could clarify them. Natural causes were mentioned immediately, given his venerable age. But Betsy's involvement complicated things in a way no one could neatly explain. At just 65, she was by no means on the brink of life's end, and family members described her as fit and health-conscious. One possibility hinted at the prescription pills. Some speculated Betsy might have OD'd, whether by accident or in a moment of despair, triggering a chain reaction of events that sealed both their fates. Perhaps John, already frail, was unable to get help or collapsed from the stress of discovering his wife in a dire condition. Yet none of these guesses could account for the strange disorder in the house, nor the unlocked door that seemed to beckon an explanation from the outside world. When news of Gene Hackman's death broke, theories began circulating faster than any official report could clarify them. Natural causes were mentioned immediately, given his venerable age. But Betsy's involvement complicated things in a way no one could neatly explain. At just 65, she was by no means on the brink of life's end, and family members described her as fit and health-conscious. One possibility hinted at the prescription pills. Some speculated Betsy might have OD'd, whether by accident or in a moment of despair, triggering a chain reaction of events that sealed both their fates. Perhaps John, already frail, was unable to get help or collapsed from the stress of discovering his wife in a dire condition. Yet none of these guesses could account for the strange disorder in the house, nor the unlocked door that seemed to beckon an explanation from the outside world. Early on, carbon monoxide poisoning stood as a prime suspect. However, with gas lines fully intact and no trace of that invisible killer found, the argument lost ground. Even so, some family members continued to privately insist that a slow buildup of toxic fumes could have gone undetected for a period of time, ultimately overpowering them both. But that was just one of many loose threads waiting for definitive results. Another layer of intrigue came from the property's monthly planner and 2 green cell phones discovered in a nearby study. Investigators combed through the planner's pages, looking for appointments, scribbled notes, or cryptic reminders that could hint at the final days of Gene and Betsy. The phones, too, became key evidence. Modern diaries capturing calls, texts, and possibly emails that might reveal hidden stress or secret plans. Why did the couple, normally so structured, leave their routines in such chaos? Why did nobody respond to calls or check on them for days? Could an outsider have played a role, sneaking in and out through that open door? As local law enforcement and the FBI sifted through digital trails and physical evidence, the public could only wait and wonder. News cameras quickly descended upon Santa Fe, broadcasting updates about the unthinkable loss of a man whose on-screen presence defined several eras in Hollywood. Tributes poured in from every corner of the entertainment world. Icons like Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman spoke up, lamenting the passing of a legend they once shared sets with. But the most heart-rending responses came from Gene's immediate family. His daughters and grandchildren, who saw him not as an untouchable Hollywood figure, but as a gentle, involved patriarch. Some family members clung to the idea that this could have been a cruel accident. They painted a picture of an active man who still did yoga and even a bit of Pilates, defying his age. Others speculated about external factors, an undiagnosed condition, or even carbon monoxide. Each comment from the family hinted at the profound shock of losing not just one, but 2 loved ones at the same time. Meanwhile, the public narrative took on a life of its own. Social media swarmed with theories, heartfelt messages, and even bizarre conspiracies. Fans posted old movie clips featuring Gene's iconic performances, weaving tributes that acknowledged his immeasurable contributions to film. In the midst of all this, the practical matter of final arrangements and potential estate issues created an undercurrent of tension. Who would handle the sudden responsibilities? Were there instructions left behind? Betsy, though less famous, was deeply respected among those who knew her. Friends described her as compassionate, thoughtful, and diligent about every aspect of Gene's well-being. Their relationship, while sometimes scrutinized for the 30-year age gap, had proven enduring. The abrupt end of that partnership added to the heartbreak, prompting more questions than any family should ever have to face. Yet, for all the love and sorrow pouring forth, some corners of the media couldn't help but focus on the darker side of the unknown. Could there have been a hidden financial struggle, unresolved friction within the family, an envious stranger with a grudge? Each rumor stoked the flames of speculation, making it harder to sift fact from fiction. Within days of the discovery, theories that reached beyond the realm of accident or simple health failure began to circulate. One of the most distressing whispered possibilities was that the couple had made a joint pact to end their lives. The age difference between them fueled gossip that maybe Betsy felt overwhelmed by the idea of caring for a man in his 90s, or that Gene couldn't bear the idea of leaving Betsy alone should his health drastically decline. Yet the scattered pills in separate locations where they were found did not entirely fit the typical pattern of a planned exit. The notion of a suicide pact might appear far-fetched, yet detectives had to consider it. Advocates of this theory pointed to the emptiness of the house and the fact that each body was discovered with items suggesting a sudden, private crisis. In Gene's case, His cane and sunglasses being left out implied he was in motion, possibly heading somewhere or trying to do something in a hurry. Betsy's case, involving pills, screamed of desperation or confusion. Neither scenario, however, could be confirmed or denied until toxicology and autopsy results were in. Some observers proposed a different angle entirely, one involving an intruder or someone they knew personally who could have gained access through that front door. Though no obvious signs of forced entry emerged, the disarray, the missing puzzle pieces, and the incomplete phone and text records suggested that a third party couldn't be ruled out. If an outsider orchestrated the tragic events, what possible motive could they have had? Was there something valuable or secret enough in that household to warrant such an extreme outcome? Others took a step back and speculated that events unfolded in a far simpler sequence than all these dark possibilities. Maybe Betsy stumbled upon a medical crisis for Jean, panicked, and took a handful of medication out of sheer terror, leading to an inadvertent OD, or perhaps Jean, disoriented from a sudden lack of oxygen or a stroke, had inadvertently caused the heater mishap or left the front door ajar. Each scenario had a measure of plausibility, yet none fully answered the myriad questions swirling around the shocking scene. Local authorities, supported by state and federal experts, launched a full-scale probe into the Hackman home. Every inch of the property was examined for latent fingerprints, footprints, or trace evidence that might indicate someone else had been there. The monthly planner was carefully photographed page by page, while the data on those green cell phones was extracted and analyzed for recent calls, messages, or appointments that might hold the key to understanding the couple's final days. Tech specialists worked to recover any deleted texts or voicemails that could reveal last-minute confessions or pleas for help. Investigators also collaborated with medical examiners who conducted thorough autopsies, searching for signs of foul play, external trauma, or hidden illnesses like an undiagnosed heart condition. Toxicology tests aimed to detect whether carbon monoxide, prescription medications, or any other substances were present in their systems. Time of death became a crucial focus, especially given how at least one pet had died and the others were found severely distressed. If the couple had been dead for more than just a day or two, why hadn't anyone noticed? Neighbors spoke of the Hackmans as quiet but friendly, occasionally hosting intimate gatherings. It struck them as strange that no one heard a disturbance or saw anyone coming or going. The baffling detail of the open door persisted. If the front door was left ajar, how long had it been that way? Friends and extended family were interviewed, though the authorities kept specific findings under tight wraps, hoping to prevent any compromises to the investigation. The secrecy, of course, only ignited more speculation. Some pointed out that Jean was a notoriously private man, which might explain why the house sat undisturbed for a considerable span. Others believed something far darker was in motion, perhaps orchestrated by someone who understood how to exploit that privacy to create an untraceable tragedy. As investigators dug deeper, stories from Gene Hackman's past began emerging. Over his long career, he had weathered rumors of feuds with co-stars, creative disputes on set, and even an alleged falling out with a major studio executive. While few of these stories ever escalated into open conflict, they added color to the tapestry of who Gene Hackman really was behind the scenes. Could any old resentments have escalated into a fatal act? It sounded dramatic, but history has shown that sometimes the unlikeliest motivations lead to real-life horrors. Betsy Arakawa had her own circle, albeit smaller and more discreet. A former business owner and classical music enthusiast, she was said to be deeply loyal to Gene, even stepping away from her personal ambitions to support his lifestyle and health needs. More recent whispers suggested she occasionally confided in friends about feeling overshadowed by his massive presence. Yet not a single person described their relationship as contentious. Most insisted they were a devoted couple who found ways to bridge their age gap with humor and mutual respect. Still, the controversies swirling around Gene's name, especially about unconfirmed disputes over intellectual property rights, rumored financial entanglements, and alleged hidden deals, gave conspiracy theorists ample fuel. If a secret arrangement went sour, could that have led to some form of coercion or threat? It was a stretch for many, but it underscored how every aspect of the couple's lives was now under a microscope. In certain corners of social media, amateur sleuths compiled timelines of Gene's last public appearances, cross-referencing them with Betsy's known health appointments and the cataclysmic day they were found. They pored over interviews to pick apart subtle references, hoping to uncover a clue overlooked by the authorities. While most of these armchair investigations generated more noise than insight, they illustrated the compelling power of this enigma. With every rumor, the sense that something deeply hidden lurked beneath the surface grew stronger. While the world clamored for quick answers, forensic experts preached patience, reminding everyone that conclusive toxicology results and autopsy findings can take weeks or even months. Each passing day brought the potential for new revelations: digital messages recovered from Betsy's phone, data from Jean's online medical portals, or clues gleaned from the monthly planner's scribbled appointments. Law enforcement officials stressed that, despite the rumors, no single theory had gained a definitive edge. Yes, advanced age could explain Jean's passing, but Betsy's death remained a riddle. Yes, an OD was plausible, yet evidence of a deeper plot couldn't be dismissed outright. Even the possibility of an undiscovered gas leak or a silent medical condition lingered until test results came back. What perplexed many was how two lives could unravel so quickly and quietly, leaving behind a home that seemed to speak of chaos, confusion, or perhaps something orchestrated. The families, meanwhile, wrestled with the profound grief of losing two beloved figures. Memorials were arranged, tributes poured in, and the media spotlight never wavered. Some relatives pleaded for privacy, while others sought to correct misinformation floating around online. All the while, the official investigation plowed ahead, gathering digital footprints, analyzing hair and tissue samples, and interviewing anyone who had seen or spoken to the couple in their final days. Even as the lab work proceeded, new angles emerged. Was there a financial paper trail leading to a suspicious entity? Had Betsy or Jean reached out to a crisis hotline or a friend in the weeks before their deaths? Each fresh lead beckoned investigators to follow yet another branching path, each step offering the chance to confirm or dispel a rumor. And still, the public remained riveted, caught in the pull of a mystery that seemed both intimately personal and inexplicably grand. In the end, the deaths of Jean Hackman and Betsy Arakawa stand as a haunting testament to the thin line between public reverence and private vulnerability. How two people so revered, he for his unforgettable roles, she for her quiet devotion, came to share such a perplexing final chapter remains unanswered. Investigators will eventually piece together medical facts, phone records, and every last fingerprint, but the human heart often demands more than sterile data. It seeks a narrative that makes sense of tragedy. The illusions we hold about the rich and famous can crumble in an instant, revealing everyday fragilities. That's perhaps the most unsettling realization of all. Even icons and their loved ones are not immune to heartbreak, confusion, or the mortal uncertainties that can strike any home. For those who adored Jean Hackman's work or admired Betsy's unwavering presence, the story has become an unsettling puzzle. Each detail, from the scattered pills to the open door, whispers that some truths may never fully emerge, especially if they were guarded by the couple themselves. Until the final reports are released and the last interview is conducted, the world is left in suspended curiosity. Did fate intervene abruptly, or was there an underlying plan known only to them? Each theory offers a clue, but never the entire picture. And so, the mansion in Santa Fe stands empty, a silent monument to love, mystery, and the lingering echo of two lives that ended far too abruptly. Perhaps in time, the answers will surface. Yet for now, all that remains is an unsolved enigma, inviting us to wonder what secrets lie in the space between the facts and the final bow.